G'day everybody, Sean from Bourbon Brothers here, hope you're well. We're going to look at our second bottle in our December offerings, Bulleit Bourbon, straight bourbon from Diageo. So Bulleit Bourbon comes in at 45% ABV. It actually used to come in at 40% for the Australian market. They cut it down for the Australian market. Thankfully, they don't do that anymore. It doesn't have an age statement on it. Its mash bill is 68% corn, 28% rye, quite high, and 4% malted barley. So let's learn a little bit about Bulleit. In 1987, Thomas E. Bulleit Jr. fulfilled a lifelong dream of reviving an old family bourbon recipe by starting the Bulleit Distilling Company. According to Tom Bulleit, the great-great-grandson of Augustus Bulleit, the first batch of Bulleit bourbon was made around 1830 and its production was discontinued after Augustus' death in 1860. A tavern keeper in 1830s Louisville, Kentucky, Augustus Bulleit was dedicated to a single goal, the creation of a bourbon unique in flavour. One fateful day, while transporting his barrels of bourbon from Kentucky to New Orleans, Augustus Bulleit vanished. What happened is still unknown, and his creation nearly disappeared into history along with him. That original mash bill was 2/3 rye and 1/3 corn. In 1987, Tom Bulleit oversaw the distillation of the first batch of the modern-day Bulleit bourbon and paid tribute to the original mash bill by keeping that rye content higher than most bourbons on the market. Bulleit was first bottled under the brand Thoroughbred in 1989, undergoing the name change to the family name a few years later on the advice of a marketing firm. In 1997, the Bulleit brand was bought by Seagram's and was introduced to the US markets in 1999. The Bulleit brand was acquired by Diageo when the company bought Seagram's in 2000. Until a few years ago, Four Roses was a supplier. Four Roses had been supplying Diageo with a special blend for their brand for years, despite consumers not officially knowing for years that the bourbon was sourced from Four Roses. It was still their quality stock, which probably had a lot to do with why it resonated with people and aided Bulleit's quick rise in popularity. Bulleit's own distillery opened in March of 2017. Bulleit is foremost marketed as a mixing bourbon. As such, its high rye content results in ample amounts of pepper and spice, which helps the bourbon stand up no matter what it's mixed with. So that boldness and its quality helps put Bulleit in a higher echelon of mixing bourbons. I'm more apt to use Bulleit in my next cocktail than similar priced bourbons such as Buffalo Trace or Old Forester, which are superior sipping bourbons. From a sipping bourbon standpoint, Bulleit also holds up well. It's easy to drink and its spicy pop makes it a standout from most bourbons. It's more up to a person's personal flavour preference, since nothing about this bourbon screams amazing, but it's not bad. It wants to be the best of both worlds, and while it doesn't quite achieve it, it's a respectable showing. So with that, let's give it a shot. Medium amber in its colour. Medium legs too. So on that nose you get equal amounts of vanilla, caramel and orange zest, overlay more tamer notes of smoke, cherry and oak. There's a good amount of richness to the aromas, however they're a bit light on depth. An enjoyable spiciness bounces off the sweeter notes, but overall the nose is quite frank, straightforward and with little fuss. Give it a shot. So a sweet caramel opening quickly transforms into a peppery oak bomb. Despite its light body, it still managed to have a creamy mouthfeel and the palate surprisingly packs a burst of flavour. This flavour pop is pretty one-dimensional, not overly complex, simply consisting of pepper and oak. Minor notes of cinnamon and ginger are also present, but they struggle to shine over the bourbon's spiciness. The bourbon's hard-fisted spiciness continues until the very end. Spice, pepper and oak dominate with notes of butterscotch, mint, cherry, wavering in and out. There's an enjoyable amount of smoothness and creaminess on the finish that keeps the peppery spice from being too hard to drink. This again is surface level complexity on display, but just enough overall quality to make the bourbon enjoyable. That's the Bulleit Bourbon, our second bourbon for December. I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope you enjoy your journey. Cheers. So let's learn a little bit about this boldness and overall quality helps put Bulleit in a higher echelon. That boldness and quality helps put Bulleit in a higher echelon of I've done it again. Echelon.
Thanks for making it easy, mate.
You and the horse you rode in on.